Thank you all for coming out on a 98-degree day. Appreciate Forest Hills Country Club turning on the air conditioning yesterday and leaving it on for us. I'm Tonya Lamia with the Parks Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate you all being here. This is the 5th of 10 events as part of the Parks Chamber's legislative event series. Really appreciate the support of our corporate table sponsors and all of you who are here and our board members who brought some guests. We're delighted to meet you all. These events exist to provide opportunities for our government leaders to talk with us directly about their priorities, things that they've been working on, their recent successes, and it's a chance for them to connect directly with the business community. Our primary goal is definitely to get you in a room together with a featured speaker every month, and we're delighted tonight to introduce you to someone who we've been working closely with at the Parks Chamber since he has taken office. Want to thank our recent featured speakers. We had Illinois State Representative Joe Cisnowski, Illinois State Representative Maurice West, Winnebago County Board Chairman Joe Chiarelli, and Chicago Rockford International Airport Executive Director Mike Dunn. They have shared a lot of information about the work that they do and what's happening in their respective worlds, and it's been a wonderful experience to learn from them, and it's a bit overwhelming because a lot of things I wasn't even aware they had on their plates, and this is a great opportunity for us to hear from them. If you didn't attend in person and you want to see and hear what our leaders had to say, we have video recordings of their full presentations at parkschamber.com in our gallery, and we also have photos from every event online as well. So please grab those and share them within your networks as well. As you may know, the mission of the Parks Chamber is to help businesses succeed with the right tools, connections, and resources. One of the primary things we've been doing since the pandemic is advocating for a competitive business climate, and that's kind of how we ended up here with this event series, working with our legislators and our state leaders to make sure the voice of business is being heard, and it's been an honor for me to do that over the past 2 years for sure. We're also the first organization in the region to provide customized technology tools that really especially help small business owners and entrepreneurs who can't otherwise afford, a $5,000 website and a mobile app and all of these things. Luckily, through the Parks Chamber, we are able to provide technology to help create that search engine optimization and give very basic but robust technology tools for those small businesses. And if you're interested in learning more about those and would like to see a demonstration, on the first Wednesday of every month, I host a Zoom meeting at 11 a.m. to demonstrate that tech, and you can register on our website on our events calendar to get that Zoom link and join us. You could also talk to Duncan Geddes, who's in the room, and he can share that with you as well. We also love to produce events, obviously. We're here every third Wednesday of the month, February through November. We produce a golf outing in August. We produce a holiday happy hour. We love getting together and bringing people together so you can build relationships and do business with each other. Because the purpose of a Chamber of Commerce is to churn money through the economy as long as possible before it leaks out. So we want you to find the local banker. We want you to find the local accountant. We want our manufacturers to do business with as many of the folks in town that they can to keep that money in our economy so we can grow and be a strong, stable community. I also want to recognize our board of directors today. As always, I just want to thank you for your leadership, your support. Instead of having a board meeting today, which we generally do right before this event, we had a little social hour, so everyone may have had a cocktail or two. So board members, if you could please stand to be recognized, we appreciate you. We also thank elected officials and government leaders in attendance. We know your jobs are not easy. They're often thankless, and these are opportunities for us to tell you that we appreciate you and thank you. So if you're an elected official, government leader, if you could please stand to be recognized. And I think if you were here last month, you heard me talk a little bit about our volunteers. Thanks to them, the Parks Chamber is able to do events and provide services for a very low cost. I think we're one of the lowest membership dues as a chamber in the region. We try to charge as little as possible for events so as many people can attend. And so we thank our volunteers for the work that they do. And I want to especially thank today Duncan and Lee on our team because over the past month since we were last together, my dad actually, his health rapidly declined, and so over the past 30 days or so, I've been a little MIA. And Lee and Duncan have really stepped up and have gone above and beyond to keep our chamber providing those services for our members. They produced ribbon cuttings without me and did everything with our board and Craig Carlson and our executive committee. So thanks to you for the work you've done over the past month. It means a lot to me. And I also thought I would throw up a little slide. I don't know if you guys, if I'm in your way. I think I am. My dad's celebration of life was on Friday. And he had a lot of sayings that his friends often quote and try to live by. And one of them is, we need to use what Mother Nature gave us before Father Time takes it away. And this is actually a picture of where I'll be taking my dad's ashes in Colorado. It's his favorite place. And I'm sharing that with you today because I want to remind all of us, not only do we have to live one day at a time, but it's important to remember to find that quality of life in everything that we do. And I'm so grateful to be a part of the Parks Chamber and do this work with you because it is a huge opportunity to live a quality of life. One other quote I have of his is quality of life is not what you have, it's how you live it. And the hundreds of people that came to the service on Friday, there were a lot of big biker guys, that looked like the toughest people in the world, but they're the biggest teddy bears. And everyone is saying these mottos that my dad regularly shared with people. And I can tell you that I'm honored to be part of the chamber. I've been here just over 3 years. Craig Carlson and the board recruited me, and it's given me a quality of life that I didn't have in previous jobs. My last full-time job in Governor Rauner's administration in Chicago in the Thompson Center was a bit rough, to say the least. And so I walked out of that job and said, I'm never doing this again. I'm only going to find projects I love, and I'm only going to do them with people I like. And I'm honored because the chamber keeps me here, and I love the work I'm doing, and I really like the people that I'm doing it with. So I thought I'd just do a quick little share with you because together I think by working together, this great group of leaders, we can make a meaningful difference in this community. We're having an impact on our economy by focusing on jobs, focusing on priorities important to our business owners and operators. And that is going to have a long-term impact for generations to come. Our goal is to focus on the economy, and it's a pleasure to do it. So it's no coincidence today, if you can see the pictures up on the screen, I know I'm in the way, today's featured speaker has been one of the most involved legislators since I've been here at the chamber. He not only participates in almost every one of our ribbon cutting ceremonies, in support of those new businesses who are making investments, making commitments, buying buildings, buying equipment. He's there to celebrate and recognize all of them. He's also meeting with our members regularly on request if they are needing help with something, if they're challenged with something. And over the past couple of months, we've actually had several meetings, for example, with leadership from the Illinois Licensed Beverage Association, the ILBA. Where's you at? Where's your table? There you are. They're over here. The ILBA was talking about workforce shortage challenges coming out of a pandemic, having trouble hiring and retaining workers in this fierce market competing for talent. Representative Vella probably had a dozen meetings with us and the ILBA, strategizing on what to do, and co-created legislation, took it to Springfield, wrote the bill, has it going through the process. So not only is he listening, he's taking action. And it means a lot because, we can all talk, but doing is better. So I'm delighted that he is the speaker tonight because it's a very fitting time, especially for me because I'm a little emotional. So it's my honor to officially welcome tonight's featured speaker, Illinois State Representative Dave Vella. Representative Vella has lived in the state line his whole life. He worked 25 years as a public defender and criminal defense attorney in his family firm, and he was then elected as state representative in 2020. In his legislative role, Representative Vella has been collaborating with regional leaders and advocating in Springfield, emphasizing legislation that supports the retention and attraction of manufacturing jobs. He recently sponsored the just passed Reimagining Electric Vehicles in Illinois Act, which is a groundbreaking program that is designed to bolster Illinois electric vehicle manufacturing. I think we're going to hear about that tonight. He has been married for 21 years to his wife, Michelle, and they have 2 children. Please join me in welcoming Illinois State Representative Dave Vella.
And before I go any farther, I'm not kidding. I've only been doing this for 2 years, less than 2 years. Tonya has been the hardest working and most professional person I've dealt with. You're all great, but she's been amazing. Well, Gary, Greg, I'm sorry, Greg. Can we have one more round of applause for Tonya, please? Please. Well, all right. I'm not much for these things, and I was told to spend at least, I think Greg told me, he said 2 hours. You want me to talk for 2 hours, you said? So a little bit about me, and I think we talked a little bit about me. I've lived in the Rockford area my whole life. I went to Augustana College, came back here, went to NIU for law school, helped run a family firm for about 25 years where I did mostly criminal law, juvenile law, a little bit of divorce. I used to say, if you're coming to see me, you did something wrong in your life. And I knew about hiring people, I knew about firing people, I knew about budgets, and I knew about what a small business takes to keep going. Yes, it was a small family business with my father and my brother and my mother, and that has its own interesting facets to it. But once I got to a point where, after 25 years, and I'm not tooting my own horn, I got decent at being a criminal lawyer, and I found the cracks in the system, and I realized there's too many cracks in the system. I wanted to fix the cracks. Let's just say that. As was said, I've been married for 21 years to my beautiful wife, Michelle, who could not be here. She's down in Florida at our place in Marco Island, which is, I think kind of crappy of her. But you know what? God bless her. My daughter's at UW, freshman, just got done. She made the dean's list. She's going to be very upset if she sees me say this, but she made the dean's list. I'm very proud. And my son is a machinist at Forest City Gear, and he's been there for about 4 years, and he loves it. He's a hands-on learner. She's not. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much because 2 hours is as long as I can go. One of the things I'm very proud of is my district office. Now, my district office is at 407 North Mulford Road, right in the corner of Riverside and Mulford. One of my district staff is here, Nathan Blevins. Nathan is a superstar. This is one of the things that made me want to run for office. My grandfather was a state representative for 30 years. He did a lot for the area, but one of the things he did most for the area was he was in his office 9 to 4, every day. People walked in, and he helped them with everything they needed. And that's what we've been doing. We've gotten people FOID cards. We've helped them with unemployment. You know, with coming out of COVID, unemployment's been a big deal. FOID cards have been a big deal. Licenses have been a big deal. Just finding a way around the red tape that is the state of Illinois is a big deal. And Nathan and Ricardo in my office have been amazing at it. And we have returned, I think, over $1 million so far in the last year and a half from something called iCash, which is money that is just sitting there waiting for you to come pick it up. Like an uncle died, an aunt died, you might be the third person in line. If you're the one in line, you get the money. And we get the money for you. So if you have any ideas that you may have some money out there, hey, this is what we do. So now, this is the fun part. So I was elected by one of the smallest margins in the history of the area, 200 votes, in the old 68th district map. Now that obviously goes into Lowe's Park, McChesney Park, Rockford, and down into Cherry Valley. The new map is kind of, if you can see, it kind of takes me mostly out of McChesney Park altogether, mostly out of Lowe's Park, and it pushes me into Belvedere. Belvedere's on the right side there. So I take in the casino, I take in the Stellantis plants, which I'm going to talk about in a little while. I take in a lot of the manufacturing. I am, though, somebody who is of the state line. So just because I left McChesney Park and just because I don't have as much as Love's Park doesn't mean we're not going to be there for you. We actually have a saying in our office, and no one gets turned away. So we have people coming from Chicago, some from Durand. So what's good for McChesney Park is good for Rockford, is good for Love's Park, is good for everybody. So it can't be just, this is who my people are. All right. Why I ran. As I talked about, my grandpa was a state rep for a long time. I was very proud of him. I looked up to him my whole life. I wanted to do something more than just get people out of jail, which it was, it was an important thing and help people, but I wanted to kind of move the ball down the lane when it came to making the Rockford area better. I was born in 71. I remember when Rockford was a booming manufacturing town. I'll make this a little bigger. But one of the things that I realized was that the criminals have started getting younger and younger. So when I first started 25 years ago, criminals were 21, 22, 23 years old. Now the criminals are 14, 15, 16 years old. These are the ones that are doing the shootings. These are the ones doing the carjackings. These are the ones doing most of the violent crimes in the area. I knew them. I knew their parents. I knew their grandparents because I represented them. And I realized there's something we need to do to kind of change the game for them. And I'm a big believer, and my wife and my family is a big believer in the value of work, getting people jobs, and making sure that they have something prepared for them when they get out of high school. So, and I remember when we used to have the Vote Tech Center out of Jefferson, and it's gone now. So my goal, my long-term goal, and I've been working with Patty over at Harlem, and I've been working with Belvedere, and I've been working 205, is to get vocational training back into schools so that our kids are ready for life after high school. I don't care what their SAT scores are. I don't care how many, grade point averages. If 2 years out of high school, they're sitting in their parents' basement, smoking pot and playing video games, we did a bad job. If they have either in college or have a job, then we did a good job. So that's the core reason I ran. And the other reason I ran was no one trusts politicians anymore. They used to. They used to trust politicians because politicians were there, and this is why I've been trying to go to everything I can and be there for everybody I can, because you can't trust somebody you don't know. You can't trust somebody you haven't talked to. And back when my grandpa was a state rep, we used to see them all the time at the grocery store, at openings, if you had a problem, you'd go to your state representative or your alderman or your mayor or your whoever. I want people to trust their politicians again, because if they don't trust their politicians, we can never move the ball forward. So, all right. What we did in Springfield this year, I wanted to kind of give an overview of what we did, budget, public safety, and just some miscellaneous. So budget-wise, fiscal responsibility, when I got down there, I was thinking from a small business perspective. So we paid our pension obligations off to 2023. We've got a huge pension obligation. We can't pay it all off. I mean, no one could pay it. Ken Griffin with $10 billion couldn't pay it off. We paid it as much as we could. Plus, we paid $4 billion in unpaid bills, and we put $1 billion away for a rainy day fund. And as we all know, we're in a rainy day. Inflation's out of the world. I just heard they're raising the interest rates. It's going to be a rocky road. So we had to put a little money away for that. We put additional money into our schools. So our schools in Rockford get more than the schools in nicer areas because they need it. It's great in Harlem and Belvedere. And we made sure that is fully funded, along with $54 million in early childhood education, because every study that I've seen shows that if we don't teach our kids, get them when they're in kindergarten and give them the basics, then we lose them. And I know it sounds bad, but that's where I'm hearing. We got $180 million towards hospitals, and most importantly, healthcare workforce. And this is going to be something that you're going to hear coming from me the whole time. Workforce. We are at a workforce shortage, and you all know that. But our healthcare workforce is pretty low. So we got some money in to try to get more people in the doors at our hospitals and our daycare, our aftercare places and our retirement homes, just because we need them, because they're very understaffed. Other highlights, I know that our credit rating has been raised. I know that some positive things are happening. Rivian down in Bloomington and Lion, I think, is in Decatur. So there's some new manufacturing come back in the state. But we'll talk about Stellantis in a little while. Now, public safety, this was my bailiwick. This is because I'm the only practicing criminal attorney in the House of Representatives. I became the guy that they would talk to about this stuff. So I was able to actually on the floor, run some of these bills. So HB 1568 was a recruitment and retention bill. That was one of the ones that I came up with. And the idea behind that one was you cannot have public safety without police officers. I know it's a silly, it's a pretty straightforward thing, but we are losing police officers because some are retiring, people are just quitting. So what this does is allows for pension systems to be played with so that officers can stay on longer. And it starts the process of turning, hopefully, knock on wood, we're working on it right now, turning Rock Valley College and some other community colleges into a feeder straight from high school to Rock Valley College to the police. So the kids' feet don't touch the ground and we have more police officers. And that's the new model. We don't want to let our kids leave high school without a job. This gives them a feed. So that's for retention. HB 1571 I worked on with actually a city police officer from Rockford told me about this. She's a single mother. She was having trouble finding 24-hour daycare when she's on at night. So HB 1571 helps with that. HB 1321 helps with behavioral health services for first responders. This is one of the things that we heard from police officers unions and from nurses and from firefighters is COVID was tough for them. Much, much tougher than for us. And they have depression issues, PTSD issues that is not being addressed. And it's bleeding out into their jobs and it's making them quit. So we need to, and they deserve us to take care of them. HB 1097 is an interesting new thing, which I did not know until it was explained to me. So retail theft is gone into the 21st century. So there are gangs, organized gangs, adults and kids who come into towns like McChesney Park or like Rockford and steal in bulk. And then they sell it because we have a marketplace, Facebook Live or Facebook Marketplace or any of those places on the internet. They can sell it really quickly. This helps us go after the organizers, kind of using RICO, which was the old organized crime, to go after these people who are organizing poor kids to go and steal. And that actually dovetails into HB 1101. As I said, most of the carjackings that we're seeing in the city of Chicago and around here, a lot of them, are 14 and 15-year-olds, right? Putting a gun to a window. And a lot of times we're finding out these are adults putting these kids up to it. Steal this car, bring it to me, I'll give you $20 or $100 or whatever, or I'll give you the gun or whatever. So this allows us to go after the adults who would have had a much lower crime. HB 1095 is an interesting one where, believe it or not, in the state of Illinois, if your car was stolen from you and it gets impounded, you have to pay the impound fees. So this allows, we don't have to pay the impound fees, but also, I know, not anymore. But it also sets aside a fund What we're seeing now is ring cameras being used to solve crimes, and it sets aside a fund to help monitor that, give kind of bounties for people when they see something bad happening, they can use the ring cameras. And then this is the biggest one, HB 1103. So what this does is it expands the use of what's called license plate reader cameras. So license plate reader cameras are, so let's say somebody comes from, I don't know, wherever. We can grab their license and we can track them as they go and find out where they are. And if they commit a crime, we can track them on the highway because we can hook up to the highway system, into Chicago, into the suburbs, into, it's just, we're trying to get Wisconsin to get on board. This allows people to, if they come to our town to commit a crime, we can track them and we can get them. Because we want to make it harder for them to come here and commit a crime. Because, everything I think about is from a business perspective, and we are losing millions of dollars to theft. I don't know if everybody saw that during the protests during the COVID years. There was a video from Bruno's where the cars came in and were like, it was almost like a ballet. Those cars were tracked through the LPR system back into Chicago, and a lot of those people were caught. All right, so that was public safety, then COVID relief. So July 1st, and I'm sure you've all heard of it, there's a grocery tax suspension, a gas tax suspension, and a doubling of the property tax rebate, which the grocery tax is supposed to be about $40 million or $400 million. The gas tax, $70 million, and the rebate is about $300 per household. Now that's in a state the size of Illinois. That's not a ton of money. What they tell me is it averages out to about the one extra paycheck in an average home in the state of Illinois. That's supposed to give some a little bit. That's what I know. I'm not an accountant. I see people shaking their head. I don't know, but that's not enough. There's still a lot more needs to be done, and I'm working on that as we speak. But right now we're out of session. There's also the earned income tax credit was doubled, and we also gave more money to the local distributive fund, which I know that I think if Mayor McNamara was here, he was really looking forward to that, and that's coming. I know COVID's been hard for everybody, and I'm trying the best I can, especially in our office, to find every loophole I can to give them as much as I can, especially in a small business, because I know how hard it is and the margins are so close, but we're all kind of going through a tough time right now. All right. So what I am most proud of in the last 2 years, and Tonya was nice enough to talk about it, was the REV Act, which I'll talk about, and then CEJA. So CEJA was a bill that took forever, but for us, what it did was it set up community green hub, job hubs, so that we can start training our local people, local kids, hopefully, in the new green economy. But more importantly, it saved the Byron nuclear power plant. We were, and I don't know if the news made it known, we were a hair's breadth from shutting down the Byron nuclear power plant. And if we would have shut down the nuclear power plant, I don't know if you've been keeping track of the energy prices down below 80, but they're looking at $600 to $700 more a year just in every household, plus brownouts. And in fact, there's been talk of brownouts this week. And that's because they do not have the nuclear fleet that we do. We have a great nuclear fleet. We would have lost them all if we wouldn't have passed this. And that was a big thing. And we were back there, and we held their feet to the fire and saved the Byron nuclear power plant. And because of that, our energy prices comparatively are much lower, much lower than down south. It doesn't have the nuclear power. And my intention is, long term, if I'm lucky enough to go back and I can keep working, that we bring more nuclear power to the state of Illinois because it's cheap, it's clean, and it's reliable, and it creates good jobs. And I don't think there's any reason not to. Also, the CEJA made our grid, is going to make our grid one of the greenest in the country, which is, it's cold solace to somebody whose bill's going up, but it is one step towards helping us. Now, I believe if we can get these nuclear power plants going, bills will come down, but it's going to be work. It's going to be time. The second thing we did, which was something I was very, very proud of, was the REV Act. So the REV Act is reinventing electric vehicle manufacturing. The idea being is we're trying to turn Illinois into the Silicon Valley of electric vehicle manufacturing. So we've got Rivian, which is a truck manufacturer. We've got Lion, which is also a truck manufacturer. What we're trying to do is get Stellantis and Ford, right? So what this bill does is it incentivizes manufacturing of cars, but also incentivizes manufacturing and installation of charging stations and the infrastructure. Because this is like going from, horse and buggy to internal combustion to electric vehicle. There's going to be a lot of infrastructure, there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. And I mean, I'm at the doors, I'm talking to people all the time, and they say, there's no way I'm buying an electric car, it's too expensive. I don't know if, I watch the Super Bowl. Every ad in the Super Bowl was for an electric car. The electric cars, and I talk to them, to the manufacturers, and I talk to their reps, and they keep saying, electric vehicles are it. And I don't currently drive an electric vehicle, but from what I'm being told, by 2045, there's not going to be any more internal combustion engines being built in the state of the United States. That's what I'm being told. I'm not a manufacturer, but we got to prepare for it because that's what they're telling us. If we are going to do that, we're going to need the infrastructure. We're going to need charging stations. We're going to need better batteries, and we're going to need cars manufactured. There's a Ford plant in Chicago, and there's the Stellantis plant in Belvidere. I, and Nathan will probably tell you, I spend most of my days working Stellantis to get them to commit to putting cars in that Stellantis plant, electric vehicles. Because if we can get them back up to 3 shifts, if we can get that going, it's going to be such a boon to the area. And I remember when the Chrysler plant used to be 3 shifts, and it's not right now. And the people in Belvidere that I talk to are hurting. So I spend most of my time trying to make sure that happens, because it's going to have a ripple effect. And the people from Belvidere know how important it is. All right. So that was the rep. Oh, and also, it will allow these manufacturers, of all things, to be prioritized in permits. The state of Illinois, I'm sure you all know, can be a little slow in permitting. They can take a long time doing a lot of silly things. This allows them to go straight to the top of any pile. So if there's a pile, if it's an electric vehicle, they get to go to the top. All right. So community resources, that's the other thing we've kind of done in our office, is we've brought money back to Harlem, and we've brought money back to Belvidere and 205. We've done some infrastructure stuff. I've gotten lucky enough to work with a lot of you guys here, and you've told me what you need, and I've brought some back. I haven't got everything yet, but that's the next time and the next time and the next time. Because if we don't have a voice down in Springfield, and I think we have a pretty good legislative team right now, then we're going to stay the 4th or 5th city in the state of Illinois. Right now we're the 4th or 5th. I think we're 4th. We used to be 2nd. I mean, we're never going to be first. Chicago's first, but we used to be 2nd. This whole area should be where it's at. We should have more manufacturing. We should be a power player. We should be at the table. And that's what I'm hoping to do. And every time you guys tell me you need something and I can get it for you, I think it helps. All right. So what I think is going to happen to the state line. How am I doing on time? Am I doing okay? 5 minutes? I got 5 minutes? All right. 5 minutes? All right. All right. So, future of the state line. I think it's going to be a very rocky return to normal. It's just going to be, coming out of COVID has been tough. Inflation's been tough. Politics, I'm learning. I did not realize how polarized it was. I mean, we are in the state, in the city of Rockford and in McChesney Park and Loves Park. I think we're pretty moderate people. We don't get each other's faces a lot. What I see down in Springfield, what I see especially coming out of Chicago, is it's disheartening, and sometimes it makes me want to just quit. It's tough. Politics right now is in an ugly, ugly, ugly place. So what I've done to try to kind of get past it is just to focus on here, focus on Rockford, McChesney Park, the state line. So it's going to be tough, but I do believe that we have what it takes to grow manufacturing. So I'm hearing a new place going in here. I'm hearing something in Belvidere, something new's going in. Things are starting to move in a positive direction. And I think we have the infrastructure to move in a positive direction. So what can we do? EV manufacturing. Obviously, Stellantis plant's a big deal, right? But I'm ready and willing to talk to anybody here who wants to manufacture charging stations, or wants to make a car, for that matter, or wants to talk about wiring, or wants to talk about batteries, or wants to talk about anything. We are in the perfect place for that, and I'll talk about that in a second. Second, train service. and Senator Stallman, I'm sure we'll talk about that. This has been his baby forever. We got the money. It's sitting there. We're waiting on them to decide between Metra, which is my choice, and Amtrak. Once they decide on Metra, and I think that's going to happen before November, we're very close to Rockford, Belvedere, and I think I forget. We end up in Chicago. I know it stops in Rockford, but that's all I cared about, Rockford and Belvedere. And, of course, the airport. Mike Dunn was here February. I mean, that airport is, besides, the 1B, it's been an amazing job. It's been the fastest growing airport in the world. I mean, I'm just so proud of just saying that. And part of what I do on a regular basis is try to fight. So there's an airport they want to build in Piatone. They've been wanting to build in Piatone forever. They still do. And I keep saying, no, look at us. You don't need Piatone, you got us. All right. So why are we in a good place? Our location. I have been speaking to manufacturers, big manufacturers, and they're sick of the supply chain issue. They're sick of waiting for the ports to be emptied. They're sick of coming over from China or from Mexico. They want stuff within driving distance. We are right in the middle of everything. We are right on a train line. We're right on 90. We have the greatest airport, I think, in the world. We are in a perfect location for growth. We have a very good workforce, and as I talk to our schools, RBC, Harlem, Belvedere, Rockford, everybody is of the same opinion that we have to train our workforce for these new jobs. So if we have a trained workforce, now there's difference of opinion on how you do it, but we're all of the opinion that we have to do it. We're all of the opinion that whether you call it vocational or CTE, that's the future. That only 30% of our kids are going off to college. So the other 70% have to go into a job. And our leaders, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your behinds here, but you guys care, you guys are involved, and you have your fingers on the pulse. You're actually talking to the people. That is not, I did not realize this, but that is not the norm outside of this area. You go to the suburbs, you go into the city of Chicago. I mean, just look at the city of Chicago, what happens there. The leadership is a mess. We don't have that, right? You have mayor of McChesney Park and Loves Park and City of Rockford, and we all get together, right? Self-Lloyd, we all get together and we just talk. We don't fight each other. It's not a big, who's the biggest guy in the room. It's just how can we help each other? And that's important. So my goals for the next 2 years or the next 20 years, depending on how long I get to stay here, is sell the state line. Whenever I go down to Springfield, go to Chicago, go anywhere, I talk about where we are, who our workforce is, what we have, why not come to Rockford? I feel like, George Bailey during the, and say, what about us? What about us? I'm going to try to prep the state line. I'm going to focus on vocational training. And I think we're all of the mind that if we train our kids for jobs, they will be there. And I'm going to try to bring the state line back up to the number 2 in the state. And I'm not going to be able to do that without you guys. I need you to tell me what you need. I need you to point me in the right direction. I have my own ideas, but sometimes you have much better ideas, and I have no pride of ownership. So please tell me what you need, and I will be there. And I promise, the corner of Mulford and Riverside. Just stop at any time. We got coffee, right? We got water, tons of Diet Coke. So please come by anytime, and thank you very much for having me. And this has been a lot of fun. Everybody's knees okay? Good. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Representative Vella. State of the state. It's awesome to hear your priorities, your accomplishments, where you're focused. We're with you, and we're here to support you and connect you. If you ever need the business community to come together behind something, give us a call.